You are listening to Eat Meat Sparingly, a Word of Wisdom podcast. I am your host, Ali Essig. Today's podcast episode is just a little bit different. I'm going to repost a workshop I taught to everyone on my email list called Your Workouts Aren't Reflecting Your Effort and How to Fix It. Meaning, if you feel like you've been exercising but aren't necessarily seeing the changes that you want in your body, then you'll definitely want to check out this workshop. Now, even if you don't exercise at all or you have no workout routine, you'll still find a lot of benefit from listening to this entire workshop, especially because at the very end, I do give you the most incredible free gift that will help you outline how to actually do your strength training routine so that you can follow the American guidelines and really work every muscle group in your body. It's super helpful. You'll find a lot of information in it. And I do extend a very special offer towards the very end if anyone is interested in joining the PlantWhys membership. And so I will extend all of the bonuses and everything that I offer until Monday. So you'll just have to join before Monday to get all of those bonuses. All right, let's get straight to it. I'm super excited for you to learn. I am so excited for today's class. I hope you are excited. This is something that I'm just so passionate about. I have always been someone who loves to work out just because of how you feel afterward. And so if anything, I hope you leave feeling inspired. I hope you leave feeling wanting to really prioritize your health and to figure out the best way to get the most bang for your buck when you do exercise. So first of all, too, it's important to understand that no matter what you do, even if you didn't follow a program, if you weren't seeing results, but you're at least exercising, I want you to know that maybe you're not seeing results as in rippling muscles, but it's still always a positive thing to work out. None of what I'm saying is what you were doing is bad, because any form of working out is always good. You're always doing the right thing. You just want to make sure you see results in your body. You want to see your muscles, right? You want to see the weight loss. But even if you never lost weight, and if you worked out every single day, if you never got super toned, ripped muscles, it's still beneficial. It's still going to reduce your risk of Alzheimer's. It's still going to minimize your risk of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, all of the things. So there's no wrong way when it comes to longevity. This workshop today really is just making sure you see your results when it comes to your physical results, to make sure that you are reflecting your effort so that when people see you, they're like, what do you do? You look so fit. You look so toned, right? And so that's what we're going to focus on today. But know that even if you don't listen to anything I say, as long as you're inspired to work out, you're always doing the right thing. And then there may be a lot of questions that you guys have. So just so you know that there will be a Q&A at the very end, so make sure you stay until the end. You're welcome to ask any question. So even if you ask them in the chat, I'll go back through, but I may not ask them right in the moment as I try to get through each of the slides. But if you have the question, definitely write it in the chat and then I'll get to it at the very end. And then of course, as with all workshops, I'm just the type of person that I want to give you so much value that like you came here, you spent your time. This is not just me selling you and pitching you the whole time. This is me giving you really quality information. And then I also, of course, am going to invite you into the PlantWhys membership. And I have some juicy bonuses today to hopefully make it worth your while. So that will happen at the end. But know that until then, we're going deep into the science. We're really going to make this an actual workshop, not just me selling you the whole time. Okay. But that will happen at the very end. I'll invite you in. So to sweeten the deal, to help you stay to hear me out until the very, very, very end, I will give you a free gift. This gift is a document that I spent a lot of time putting together to just help you structure your workout so you can see results. So not only are you going to be able to try and understand after I talk to you, but you'll actually be able to see it in written form. If you stay until the end, I'll give you that document where it's like, okay, you can take the document, you can grab your workout bands, and starting tomorrow, put it into practice, or you can go to the gym and put everything I'm about to say into practice. Okay. So it is a very practical, tactical guide that I will give you if you stay until the very end. All right, let's get straight to it. Now, why am I teaching this workshop? And that is because I have seen a common struggle. You're doing the work, right? You are trying, but you aren't really seeing it. People wouldn't really look at you and be like, you work out every day, right? You go for a walk every day. You've been consistent, you're trying hard, and you might even be exhausted. Or maybe some of you are not consistent right now. Maybe you're not doing the work right now, but you have in the past, right? You have in the past and you're frustrated because you didn't see the results. You started over many times and you're like, oh, is this even worth it? Like you're in like a good hang of things and a good structure, but then you fall off. And it's frustrating because you feel like the mirror isn't reflecting all the effort that you've put into it. And sometimes it can be discouraging. You're like, I'm spending my time and I know it's good to, it's always going to be beneficial for longevity. It's always going to be beneficial to reduce your risk of Alzheimer's disease and dementia and type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. But it's kind of discouraging that you're not seeing the difference in your body, in your weight, in your muscle tone. And how sure are you? I'm just curious, just to kind of do a little quick self check in to see how you guys feel, especially everyone who has joined live today. On a scale from 0 to 10, I want to know how confident you are that your current workouts are getting you closer to your goals. So if you guys could just write in the chat on a scale from 0 to 10, how confident you are that your workouts are getting you closer to your goals. Okay, 0, 3, 8.5. So we have a good mix of things. And if you're not working out at all, you can put a 0 in the chat. I am curious if you guys are not even exercisers, but you are wanting to and hopefully to get back on there. Good. You guys, we have a good crowd here. 0, 2 is perfect. Okay. So most of you guys are at least doing a little something. Awesome. Okay. So why does this happen? The thing is, hard work does not always equal smart progress, at least without a plan. It's not that you're doing too little. It's that your movement may just be misaligned and you need intentional structure. Now, without this intentional structure, it's easy to spin your wheels. And this was me. This was me, guys. This is the thing. I think I have 6 kids. And while I'm having babies and raising them, I'm just working out from home. I'm fitting in exercise just where I can. And I'm not really structured. I really am just doing it for the health benefits and the stress relief, right? And then for that runner's high afterwards. But I wasn't following a structured plan. I would follow like a random YouTube video or maybe do this workout or this workout. And then even when I'm teaching workouts, because I've been a fitness instructor for almost 20 years, but I am not focused on my own workout, right? I was focused on what others are wanting. And it was random and it wasn't necessarily structured. It was whatever classes they could give me at the gym. And I would get frustrated. I'm like, I'm spending hours working out. Why am I not seeing the fruits? Why don't I look like a bodybuilder? Right. And I want you to understand that lasting growth takes the right conditions, just like plants. We're here because we all love plants. And, for a plant to grow, it requires sunlight, it requires rain, it requires good soil that it's planted in. And if you don't have all 3, it's hard for this plant to grow. And it's very similar when it comes to really finding that same type of structure with exercise. If you want to see results, if you want to see muscle tone, if you want to see weight loss, it does require 3 things, right? Growth isn't rushed, it's cultivated. In order to cultivate it, you need consistency. You need to be consistent, not this start, stop, start, stop. I don't know about you. I've seen so many images of people like, it takes 4 years. These bodybuilders, like, this is where I was 4 years ago. You're like, what? It takes a lot of time, day in and day out, patience and intentional programming. So again, you can be consistent in just exercising, but consistent in actual structure, right? And patience with your body. It's important to understand that we are not going to work out just for the results. I'm going to teach you how to see the results, but in order to stay consistent and patient, you have to find that internal, right? That not external, but the internal reasons, because it feels so good, because you love it, because it's your time where you just give that time to yourself, because you do have to be so patient with this process. I'm not telling you that you are going to look amazing in 6 weeks, because it's not truthful. It sells really well. But in order to really see results, you have to be patient and consistent for a long period of time and following that intentional programming. And so there are 5 elements when it comes to this intentional programming, this workout formula. And so I want to go over these 5 elements. And I want you to really think, what is it that you may be missing currently in your life? And so number 1 is going to be focus. Key number 1 is focus. I want you to be more focused than where you have been in the past. So a hunter who chases 2 animals ends the day hungry. And many of us are trying to chase 2 animals at the same time. We think that we can burn fat and build muscle at the same time. And while it is true and it can happen, it usually happens most with people who are very brand new to working out. They can easily build muscle because they don't have much in the beginning. And so it's pretty easy to build muscle in the beginning. And if they're on a weight loss journey, most likely they're burning fat. So if you're brand new, I will say you probably can do both. But many of you guys attending this workshop are not necessarily brand new. Many of you have been doing something for a while. And so if that's the case, then it's very difficult to burn fat and build muscle at the same time. And so how do you know what plan to focus on? And really, it is based off of your body fat percentage. Now, in the PlantWhys program, in our Jumpstart program, we go over to find out, we use our TDEE calculator to find out what your ideal body weight is. But that doesn't mean that is really going to be your ideal body weight. I was talking to a client and she was like, do you think it's really possible for me to be 125 pounds? Like that feels impossible. And I say, when you get closer to your ideal body weight, sorry, like someone needs to be muted. It's less about that number on the scale and it's more about body fat percentage. So body fat percentage is the key here. So how do you know what your body fat percentage is? There's a lot of different ways. You can have a scale, you can get a DEXA scan, you can even just take measurements. But for today's workshop, I want you to look at this image and I want you, I'm sure we've all looked at ourselves in the mirror. I want you to guess where you are. Are you at 20%, 25%, or closer to 40, 45, 30, 35? So I need to guess. You don't have to write it. You don't have to tell me the number, but I want you to know the number in your head because this matters for where we're going to go next. So if you were to look at these images, which one is the most closely aligned with what your body looks like right now? Okay. So once you have that, then that's going to help you with your goal. Again, if you're brand new, of course, you can lose weight and build muscle at the same time. But if you are not, I want everyone on that top level from 12% to about 25%. Some people say even 20%. I want you to focus more on building muscle. Okay, so you're going to focus more on building muscle. 25%, you kind of have the flexibility where you could do either or. You could just focus on losing fat, or you could focus on building muscle. You have that flexibility. Now, everyone on the bottom, the 30, 35, 40, 45, and plus, your focus is going to be on losing fat. Okay. So your focus is going to be one or the other. And I just want to make sure I had someone write in the chat, your screen isn't showing. Can everyone else see the screen? Sometimes you have to like slide over on the Zoom. Maybe you're on the wrong thing because sometimes you can just see me. Or if you slide over, you can see where, yeah, I see it. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you guys. Okay. So 12 to 2% or 30 to 45. Again, everyone on the bottom, you're focusing on losing fat. Everyone on the top row, your focus should be gaining muscle. Okay. You're going to do both regardless. So don't feel like you're giving up on the other. But because it's important to have that goal is going to change the type of movement we do and our focus. Okay. So again, this is where we're going to align our training with your goal. So now that we have your goal, there are 3 tools that will shape your body in either way. Number 1 is nutrition. And most of you are following me because you believe in eating plant-based and you don't have to eat a crazy high amount of protein. We can talk about how much protein you need in a little bit, but it will be nutrition. I always tell people that you're going to want to times 0.54 times your ideal body weight. That's where we use a TD calculator to calculate your ideal body weight and then times it by 0.54. That's about how much protein you need. Nothing crazy high, and obviously we want to make sure that you're hitting your fiber goals just as much as those protein goals because that's just as important. Now, the next thing is cardio and then weights. Now, no matter what your goal is, you're doing all 3, regardless of your goal. You're going to do all 3. Okay. But how you use them depends on your goal. So for example, if your goal was fat loss, okay, it's really important that you're under consuming calories. And we want to increase your cardio. And I'm going to explain that in a second. So this morning, I did 2 things. I woke up early. I went to the gym with my husband and I have this Aura ring. And this Aura ring tracks how many calories I burned. And it was a really good session with my husband. We did upper body strength. I pushed really hard. I definitely burned more calories than I do lower body, but we did upper body, push and pull together. And my Aura ring said I burned 188 calories. Okay. Now, that is why you'll see if it's fat loss, that's not a lot. That's for an hour of exercise, only 188 calories. Then I took my kids swimming. And while my kids go swimming, if I did upper body, I usually go for a run that day. And when I went on a run, I ran for an hour and I burned about 500 calories. So see the difference? Like 500 to 600 calories. I can't remember. I can tell you the exact number, but pretty close, anywhere between 500 to 600 calories. Now, that is why when fat loss is your goal, you're really trying to intake less calories than your body needs. And you're just going to burn heck of a lot more calories doing more cardio than you ever will with strength training. However, we want to make sure when you're losing fat that you are not losing muscle. So I don't want you to just do cardio. You need to be doing strength training. You need to tell your body, hey, I need these bicep muscles. I need these shoulders. I need these muscles in my legs. And you can tell your body that you need them by working them. So you still are going to fit in strength training. And the guidelines, the American guidelines suggest that we need to work every single muscle in your body at least twice a week. So a lower body day, an upper body day, and a lower body day and an upper body day, or just 2 full body days. Twice a week, work every single muscle in your body. Now, if your goal is to build muscle, you actually want to eat more calories. It's not always about being in a calorie deficit. If you really want to see muscle, you need to increase your calories. And that's the problem with a lot of people that I found too, who are they're thin and they're not seeing muscle growth. And it's because they've been in a calorie deficit for far too long. They're probably 20% body fat. They're maybe 5 pounds off of their imagined ideal body weight. And really what they do need to do is actually eat a little bit more and maybe do a little bit less cardio. You're still going to do cardio. Remember, we aren't just cutting it out. We're still doing it, but we're not going to have as much of a focus on it. We're not going to do as much as the people in the fat loss space. And you're going to spend more time doing strength training, really focusing on that strength, really focusing on building muscle. But you can't build muscle that fast or that when you're in a calorie deficit. So even if you're like, I can't eat over the calories, like it scares me, then I would say, well, at least focus on calorie maintenance and eat your maintenance. Inside our program, we find out exactly what those numbers are and we'll go into detail on them. But that's just general information for your goal. Okay. And so here's the thing. Now that we know what your focus is, here's the problem. A lot of you guys may have or have in the past who are currently just going to find some random plan on social media. You're like, okay, cool. I'm going to do a YouTube workout today. I'm going to go to this group fitness class. I'm going to do this. Then it's just kind of scattered. It's whatever you feel like that day. How many of you have felt that way? You're just like, I feel like doing this today. I mean, I still to this day kind of do it. I feel like if it's a cardio day, I'm like, if the weather's great, I'm going to go for a run or a bike ride because the weather's great and I don't feel like running in the freezing cold, right? But in general, you still want to be able to follow a plan. And I don't want you to just burn calories. I really want you to build muscle. And random workouts will give you random results. Okay, I'm going to repeat that like 5 times. Random workouts will give you random results. Obviously, again, still great for longevity, but for seeing muscle tone, for changing the shape of your body. A well-designed plan will focus on progression. In order to get results in your body, you have to focus on progression. The problem that I found is for years and years, I took a group fitness class called Body Pump. Body Pump's amazing. It's like a Les Mills class. I still will do it every once in a while, like if I'm traveling or here and there, but there's only so much you can progress. You can add weights and then add a little more weights, but really you can't squat that heavy of weights because they make you go really fast and they don't have a squat rack and you're not using a machine. You're kind of tapped out. You can only use those weights. And so in that sense, it's really hard to have that progressive overload because you will see the muscle increase at the beginning. Everyone at the beginning is really easy to progress, but then you'll plateau and you may plateau for years. Where progressive overload is the gradual increase of stress placed on your muscles over time through heavier weights. You can also do it through more reps or increased intensity. Sometimes it's really just focusing on form, right? Maybe you're doing it okay, but now you're going to focus more on form. It's going to make it harder. So basically, every time you go, it needs to be harder than it was the time before. Every single time. So you don't want you going to the gym or taking that workout class, just lifting your 5 pounds for your biceps every single time. We want to continually build strength and muscle. Now, hypertrophy is also really important. You've probably heard this before, but it's like, what is hypertrophy? In order to increase the size of the muscle cells, it's typically a result of strength training and resistance exercises that uses this progressive overload, and you vary up the exercises. So I don't want you to vary them up every time you go to the gym, but I want you to vary up your plan every 6 weeks. You can do it a month, every 6 weeks, or even every 2 months. But after about 2 months, it's time to change it up. And we don't want to be doing the exact same thing. I will say classes like Body Pump are pretty good at changing it up every 6 weeks. You do want to change it up. And it's not about just moving, but hypertrophy can be helpful when you're finding that pump. Sometimes you feel, I don't know if you know, you felt that in your muscle where you're doing a bunch of bicep curls and you feel that pump. That is also connected with hypertrophy. So we want progressive overload, but sometimes just finding that pump can be beneficial as well. Okay, so point number 3, and that is to train smart. So we want to lift with a purpose. Muscle does not grow by accident. It grows with intention. Even with the right soil and the right sunshine, you still have to plant a seed to grow. So many people are like, if I drink protein powder, then I shall have big muscles. No, not at all. More important than eating enough protein is that you need to signal to your muscles to grow. They need to be placed under a very specific kind of stress. It's not just an easy thing. We have to stress those muscles. And in order to do that, there is a cycle. It's a 3-part cycle. So number 1, we're going to stress the muscles. Think of going to the gym and doing bicep curls, right? And you get to the point where you're like, ooh, I can't lift one more bicep curl. I finish it. Or like today when I did a shoulder press, like you do so many and then you're like, my mind says to press more, but my arms can't. That is your hypertrophy. That's where you reach that point. You're like, I can't do anymore. You feel kind of the burning sensation in those shoulders, right? So that's the stress that you're placing it under. But here's the secret is that muscles grow when you rest them. So in the gym, the muscles are tearing up. But when you rest, that's when they rebuild, regrow. Think about it as your body when you break a bone. When you break a bone, right, that event is the thing that broke the bone. But how does your body rebuild? In the rest, in the recovery. And that's the same thing with your muscles. It's much faster than when you break a bone. But when you tear these little muscles, then it needs time to recover. And when it recovers, it builds back stronger. Just like even sometimes when you break a bone, when I was 12 years old, I broke both of my bones in my arm and there was like a big bump when it recovered it, but it came back stronger. It overgrew, right? And that's kind of the same thing what your body will do under the stress. It will adapt. You will become stronger. You adapt to these new situations. But because you have adapted, because you're stronger, then next time you put stress on your body, it needs to be more stress than it was last time because your body's amazing and it adapted. We're constantly adapting. And so we're able to lift more. When I think about it, it's pretty amazing. In the past, maybe you were at 10 pounds on your bicep curls, then you're at 15, and now you're like, that's amazing, right? But you need to consistently increase those weights and increase those numbers to make that stress effective so that your body can adapt to it. Okay, so what are the common mistakes that I often see when it comes to working out? Number 1 is changing your workouts every single week. Every single week, you're doing something different or never, ever, ever changing your workout. It's like you go for the same walk. You've gone on a walk. I have these 2 sweet, sweet ladies in our neighborhood and they walk the neighborhood and they're amazing. Again, they're getting incredible benefits for reducing the risk of Alzheimer's and reducing the risk of diabetes. Still so beneficial. But one of them fell and broke a bone. And I was just thinking that's why it's so important to do more than just walking, to minimize your injury risk, right? To switch it up, to maybe do hills instead of the same workout routine, but not switching it out every day, but really having an intentional plan. And so again, sometimes the mistakes I see are lifting the same weight every single time. I will see this in the gym all the time. People just go, just do it. It's like you can't even, they don't even look like they're really pushing that hard. They're like, I'm just lifting. I go from machine. There is this one lady at the gym. She just goes from machine to machine. There is literally no structure, no organization. She's just like, oh, now I'll do arms and now I'll do legs and now they're just machine to machine. And she's not really pushing that hard when she's on the machines, right? That is a really common mistake. Or maybe she lifts the same way that she did 3 years ago. Guessing your reps too, not counting. Guessing your reps, how many reps you've done. Prioritizing being sore over being strong. Just because you aren't sore doesn't mean your muscles aren't growing. Don't always chase the soreness. Pairing cardio moves with strength. So say in between doing like a shoulder press, then you're going to jump and do burpees. In the past, actually, they used to think that that was a great thing to do. And you'll see this often in classes. And it's a great workout. Again, there's no wrong way to work out. As long as you're getting your heart rate up, fantastic. But that's not going to be the way to optimize it. You want to do strength or cardio, not both at the same time in order to optimize muscle growth. okay, in order to optimize muscle. High rep sets are very beneficial at the beginning. I actually encourage people to start out, if you haven't been strength training, to start out doing high rep set because they're safer. They're helpful to prevent injuries. You want to build kind of that foundation. So high rep sets are great when you're starting out, or even as an add-on, like a bonus. So a lot of times people will finish with like a bicep curl burn, like a high rep set at the very, very end. Totally fine. But if you're doing high rep sets the whole time, that's a path to exhaustion. I did that. I taught bar. I love bar. I taught bar for years and I would leave feeling exhausted and I never saw my muscles grow because bar is all about high reps the whole time. Light weights, high reps, light reps. And you're going to progress at the beginning, of course, but then you will plateau pretty fast. So in order to get to that next level you got to get past the high rep sets. Okay, the real problem isn't it's your workout and your nutrition plan. So how much protein do you actually need when building muscles? We just talked about this, but it is 1.2 kilograms, like grams per kilogram. But I don't know about you. I don't measure anything in kilograms. I measure in grams per pound. It is 0.54 grams per pound of ideal body weight. And that's the minimum. So if you're about 5'5", then most likely your ideal body weight is 125. Again, this is ideal, but for some people, if they were 5'5" and weighed 125, maybe they'd have to lose muscle to get to that point. So that's why when you're really close to your ideal body weight, I actually prefer you to use body fat percentage because it matters more that you have more muscle. So just something to keep in mind. But it's a great number to use, and that's the number we base off our protein numbers. So you want to get at least 57 grams of protein a day, right? That's pretty easy, honestly, pretty easy for most of us to do. But if you want to maximize results, like if you're like, I want more than just kind of getting the minimum, making sure my muscles are what they are, then you would times that by points. So if you're 5'5", times that's your ideal body weight is going to be 125. And this is even if you weigh 180. If you're 5'5", again, we use ideal. We don't use current body weight. It's different for men because their ideal body weight is going to be different. This is mostly for women. We use kind of what the TDEE gives us for our ideal body weight. So that would be 91 grams of protein in a day. And so I like to give people both numbers. You times your ideal body weight by 0.54 and then times it again by 0.73 and just try to hit anywhere between 57 and 91 grams of protein. So again, it's really important to know there's minimal benefits to getting over that much protein. So you do not need to consume 1 gram per 1 pound. That is a fallacy. That is incorrect. That's been taught for years and years and years. You do not need to get that much protein. That is incredibly high and unnecessary. And it actually can create other problems like constipation, not getting enough fiber, not getting enough antioxidants. And so we want to make sure that you're varying it up so you're getting enough plants. You're not overdoing it on the protein. So max number is 0.73 grams per pound of ideal body weight. Okay. Again, ideal, not necessarily current body weight. Okay. So number 4, navigating cardio. So let's talk about the cardio piece. We talked about strength training. Now it's time to talk about cardio. So like I said, TDEE, as I was saying, your TDEE calculator, you can actually go to TDEE.net or just Google TDEE calculator. I think that's literally what it is. TDEE calculator.net is the one that I like to use. It's simple. It's free. Just use any free one. Don't use the ones you have to put in your name and email. There's plenty of other free ones out there. Now you can do this to kind of calculate how many calories your body burns on a day to day. So you'll put in your age, your height, your weight, and your activity level. And you're going to underestimate on your activity level. I always underestimate, don't overestimate. Okay. Underestimate. So just go one below what you normally do. So if you work out every day, just say that you do light exercise instead of heavier. Okay. Now, part of your TDEE is going to be your basal metabolic rate, your BMR. And that is what is required just to keep you alive, just to keep your heart beating, your lungs breathing, right? Even if you're just to stay in bed all day long, the amount of calories it takes just to perform digestion, all of that is your BMR. So if you were to stay in bed all day, do nothing else, that's how many calories it takes to keep you alive. Then the next thing is your TEF. That's called the thermic effect of food. And this is where a lot of people who promote a high protein diet say, hey, you know what? When you consume more protein actually requires more calories to digest than carbohydrates or fat. And so that can be an additional benefit of eating a higher protein diet is without doing a thing, You're just eating more protein and you're burning more calories. That is a true statement, and it can be beneficial for some people, but it's this much, right? It's not a huge factor, but it is a factor. And I do want to state it. Yes, eating a higher protein diet. I do this the plant-based way, and there's so many hacks. I can't even tell you. Like, I use edamame puffs in my smoothie every morning, and that gets me like 35 grams of protein. I usually have tempeh or tofu or along with beans in my lunch and my dinner. It's really, really simple to do without going crazy. You don't have to think of that you're going to have to just eat all processed plant-based protein things. You don't. But a little bit of processed plant-based protein can be beneficial, and you don't even have to think about your numbers. So something to keep in mind. Now, your NEAT is the non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Now, NEAT is the most powerful lever you have. Just look at this picture. Next to your BMR, that blue block, what is the next biggest block? It is your NEAT, your NEAT. It is a huge, powerful lever, okay? Huge. And it's not exercise. It's non-exercise. This is, for me, in fact, it's really fun. Again, I have my Oura ring. When I teach a workshop, because I get so worked up and I talk and I move my arms, my Oura rings, you worked out. It thinks that I did something, right? It's kind of funny. Or when I go, we have a lot of stairs in our house. And so all the time it's like, you went on a walk today. I'm like, no, I just was cleaning my house. But it really is this. It's not exercise, but it's just moving your body. It's standing, having a standing desk or having a walking treadmill, just going 1.2 miles an hour. Dr. Greger walks like 14 miles a day. The guy is super thin, and you want to know why? Because he gets a ton of NEAT. He gets a ton of NEAT. He's active all day long. It's choosing to talk on the phone and maybe just like walk around your house instead of just sit there and talk on the phone. So really just moving your body. It's even while you're sitting here, if you're sitting down, it's like lifting your calves, lifting your heels up and down, just moving, just fidgeting, all of that. It will increase the amount of calories you burn way more than you think. And then last but not least is going to be the exercise activity thermogenesis, which is EAT, and that is your exercise. And like we were to say, if I were to just strength train, for me, that was only going to be about 200 calories today. So it's not a huge lever. And it took me 2 hours of working out to actually get to 700 calories. And that's not feasible for most people. That is obviously just because it's summer and we're playing around, things like that. But in general, most people, it's not a huge lever. It's important though. It's important in a lot of ways. But I want to encourage you to increase your NEAT, increase your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. If you want to see results, it's more than just your workout routine. It's just moving your body more. It's sitting less. In fact, if you have an Apple Watch, you have the rings, right? The stand ring matters. You should make sure you're standing more than you think. It's that blue little ring. Okay. Now let's go back to cardio. So cardio is a tool, but it is not the whole toolbox. You should not be just doing cardio. And even if fat loss is your goal, you need to be strength training. So I need to say that like 5 times. I don't want you just walking. I love that you're walking, and please keep walking. Again, any exercise is always beneficial, but if you want to see results, you need to strength train as well. But in talking about cardio, it's always going to support your goal, but it will not replace it. You want to make sure that you're not just calculating, like I say, I burn 600 calories during my run, so therefore I could eat an additional 600 calories. No. It doesn't work that way. You have probably met a ton of marathon runners who have trained for a marathon and didn't lose a single pound. They probably didn't lose a single pound. Remember, it will support your goal, but it will not replace. You cannot outrun a bad diet, right? So you really need to focus on all of the levers and not just think, well, because I went for a hard run or a walk, that therefore I can't blame. But what are the guidelines? And this is another thing too. When I got my personal training certification, I had already been a group fitness instructor for years and years. And I was like, what else can I learn? Like, I pretty much know all of this stuff. And one of my friends asked me, what was the thing that surprised you the most? And I was like, that we need to do cardio too. That it all matters, that anyone who tells you you don't need to do cardio, just strength train and walk, is a lie. You need to do this. The guidelines are there for a reason. We don't want to ignore strength training, and we don't want to ignore cardio. So the American guidelines for strength training is to exercise all major muscle groups in your body at least twice a week. And the American guidelines for cardio is to do 150 minutes of low intensity a week, or 75 minutes of high intensity cardio a week. So either or both. Remember, whenever you're doing high intensity, it counts 2 to 1. So if you're doing maybe 30 minutes of high intensity, that's like doing 60 minutes of low intensity. So if you're doing the math, that it's a quicker way to get it done if you want to do it high intensity. What does that mean? I'm going to talk about the different zones in a second. So zone, sometimes if you have an Apple Watch, it's really nice because it will give you your zones, which is super beneficial, but I'll just kind of like walk you through it. So low intensity steady state is kind of that zone 2 cardio. You're going for a walk, you're biking, you're breathy. You're breathy, you're not being able to carry this full-on conversation and go in depth. That's zone 1, that you can have a full-on conversation, you don't even notice. Zone 2 is you're a little bit breathy while you're walking, but it can be hard to carry the full conversation without feeling a little winded. Okay, that's zone 2. And it is really beneficial. If you wanted to get your 150 minutes all in zone 2, you can most definitely do that. And it's really helpful for people who are just beginning. So that gentle walking, the biking, this is really heart healthy. It's great for recovery days. If you're really sore, then do that low intensity steady state. You're just doing zone 2 the whole time. Now HIIT, high intensity intervals. So interval training. They're more intense intervals, and you're going to shift from like a zone 1 or 2 to maybe a zone 3 and 4. Okay. So you're focusing on 3 and 4 for a couple minutes, and then 1 and 2 for a couple minutes. So you push and then you recover. And the intervals are longer. So they're not just like quick 20-second bursts. And you're not really going necessarily all the way into zone 5. So it's not your max effort, but it's a really good push. It's like Orange Theory does this a lot. So this is like an Orange Theory because the orange zone is zone 5. And so that is going to be like 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off, 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off, right? They're equal recovery and push. And then sit is sprint interval training. And that's where you're doing your max effort. That's where you're going all the way to zone 5. Now, if you want to know what zone 5 is, it is 220 minus your age. So today during my run, there was a hill and I sprinted up that hill for 45 seconds. And as soon as you stop and you take a second, I looked at my watch. I'm like, yep, I was at 178. And so 220 minus my age is exactly 178. And so that I was like, I hit my max. That was perfect. That was my goal, is to hit my max, my zone 5 maximum heart rate, but not for very long. It was a 45-second sprint. So that's an example. And that's something that you could do and you can mix in if you are more advanced. So look at this as like beginning, intermediate, advanced. Not everyone's body can necessarily do the sit, but depending on, maybe not everyone could run, but you may be able to do it on a bike. And just to get to that maximum heart rate just really quickly can be really, really, really beneficial to get more bang for your buck when it comes to the maximum intensity time, right? You're spending less time working out, you're getting more bang for your buck. Now, what is more important? Because a lot of people ask this. They're like, well, I don't know. What should I do? Low intensity or high intensity? What's going to benefit me more? And it's interesting that they have found that lower intensity does really help with that visceral fat a little bit more than high intensity. So that visceral fat is the fat around your organs, and that's the dangerous fat. So that can be more beneficial for long-term health. Like I say, if you're really overweight, if you're really struggling, zone 2 is fantastic. And remember, zone 2 will be a little bit more efficient at attacking the visceral fat, which means it's going to be the most beneficial for your long-term health, because that's really dangerous to have visceral fat around your organs. So how do you know if you have a lot of visceral? You can do a waist measurement. For women, a waist over 35 inches can indicate excess visceral fat. For men, it's going to be over 40 inches. Your body shape, if you're more apple-shaped, more weight around the middle, you're more likely to have visceral fat. If you're pear-shaped, more weight around the hips and thighs, you probably actually have more subcutaneous fat. And you may want to do more of those intervals and less of just the low intensity, because you don't have to worry about the visceral fat as much. You can also do a DEXA scan, and these are like really the only actual accurate ways to directly measure your visceral versus subcutaneous fat. And some gyms and medical clinics do offer those body composition scans and any metabolic symptoms. So if you have high blood sugar, high cholesterol, insulin resistance, or fatty liver disease, these are all signs of excessive visceral fat. And so if that is you, I would suggest just starting with zone 2 cardio, the low intensity steady state, so that we can get that visceral fat down before you move on to the HIIT training or the sit training, right? Okay. So again, if you have more of that subcutaneous fat, then HIIT cardio is going to be more effective. and something that you might want to focus more on. Okay. All right. And even the sit as well. Now, what about menopause or perimenopause? A lot of people will be like, but I'm going through perimenopause. Aren't I supposed to like stay chill and not really like push really hard? What is the truth? What is the truth about high intensity interval training? So estrogen helps with exercise recovery and with blood sugar regulation and muscle repair. So as estrogen drop, your stress response or your cortisol can be higher and recovery can take longer. So it's really important to understand your recovery could take longer. So too much HIIT, high intensity interval training, too often or too intense can raise your cortisol, leading to fat retention, especially belly fat, sleep issues, or burnout. So we obviously don't want to do that. So what is the ideal? And that is really, if you're worried, is to just keep your HIIT limited to about 1 to 2 times per week. So I don't want you to, every time you work out, to really, really push it, and do the high intensity. Just about 1 or 2 times a week is all you need. Like I did sit today, and that was the only day I did it. No, just kidding. I did it yesterday too when I was swimming. I did sprints, but I don't do them every day. I don't do sprints every day. It's just 1 or 2 times a week. So nothing crazy, right? And when you pair this with strength training and zone 2 cardio and ample rest, you're fine. Really, if you can push it, if you're feeling great, you can go to that next level. I want you to be aware of overtraining. Like, how's your sleep? Do you feel irritable? Do you feel like your weight loss has stalled? Or are you feeling amazing? Do you have more energy? Really just listen to your body and what your body's trying to tell you if you're worried about that. Okay, so what is the best type of cardio for a building phase? So like we said before, if you're trying to do fat loss, I suggest more lower intensity steady state or HIIT. But if you're trying to build muscle, let's get in the most bang for your butt and do sit, the max effort sprint. That's going to be the best if you're just building. You don't need to worry about burning as many calories as possible, right? We want to get the most amount of effort, the most amount of results for kind of the least amount of time and effort. And we're not worried about calorie numbers. So sit is great. So that would be like do a 30-second sprint and then 3 minutes of rest. Do it anywhere between like 4 to 6 times. Like it can be that simple, 30-second sprint and anywhere you can rest for 3 minutes. But if you feel like you're fully recovered and back to zone 1 after a minute and a half, you can push it again. You just have to go from zone 5 to zone 1. You have to be in zone 1 before you can push again. So get to zone 1. If it only takes you a minute and a half, great. Then push another 30 seconds. It can be 30 seconds to a minute. Like mine this morning were 45 seconds. So it's fantastic. If you're in a building phase, sit is just a way to get it done faster, easier, and to see the best results. And it isn't for everyone, but I will say it is for those trying to build muscle. Okay. So here's the most important key of all. I don't want you to ignore this. Number 5 is making sure that you have enough recovery. Muscles don't grow when you lift, like we're talking about it. They grow when you rest. Rest isn't a detour. It is part of the process. And too much stress, even good stress, can become a roadblock. This is why, honestly, on Tuesday, I took a 3-hour nap, guys. On Tuesday, I took a 3-hour nap. My body just needed it. I had been playing pickleball for a few hours out in the sun. I'd been up really strength training, all of these things. Listen to your body. When you're tired, rest, right? It's really, really important to take that moment to rest. Listen, you don't need to push harder. You don't need to do anything really more than just recover smarter. If you are feeling it, if you're feeling tired, feeling exhausted, take a nap, rest. Really recover so that you can have the energy to go the next day. You know, LeBron James, like the famous basketball player, he is amazing, right? He's so incredible. But did you know that after games, so he plays the game, the next day he sleeps anywhere from like 12 to 15 hours. 12 to 15 hours, guys. He will sleep a long time. And even right now, he's playing on the same basketball team as his son, right? But he doesn't play that much. He rests a lot. He's in his 40s, right? He's a little older for basketball, but rest and recovery has literally been his secret weapon to being such an incredible, famous basketball player. And if he can rest 12 to 15 hours, then don't feel bad if you're like, I pushed really hard yesterday. I need a nap. I need to sleep in. I need to go to bed earlier. Listen to your body. That's how you're going to build muscle. And that's how you're going to improve and then have the energy to push it again the next day. So again, here are the 5 goals, right? You're going to spend more time focusing on your goal. We're going to be more intentional in our movement. You're going to train smarter and you're not going to forget about cardio and you're not only going to do cardio, right? You want to make sure that you have enough recovery. So all of those things are so, so important. Remember, if you're building muscle versus losing fat, right? It depends on how much you're focusing on. So if you're a fat loss phase, you still want to build muscle. We still want to strength train at least twice a week, every muscle group. And you're going to have a little bit higher reps, especially at the beginning. Your intensity as far as cardio goes is going to be more moderate. You're going to do more zone 2. You can rest between sets, take a little bit of rest between sets. You're going to make sure to progressively overload. You're going to be in a calorie deficit. And again, that moderate intensity for strength training, moderate intensity for cardio. So that's fat loss phase. Muscle building phase, again, at least 2 times working out, strength training every muscle in your body. Notice it's the same for fat loss and muscle. Of course, you can do more strength training if you're in a muscle building phase, but at least 2 times a week per muscle group. You're going to do a little bit more though. You're going to do more sets, right? And you're going to get closer to failure. You're really going to focus on that hypertrophy and progressive overload. And with that, because you're pushing harder, you may need a little bit longer rest between sets. You're going to really, again, prioritize that progressive overload aggressively. And every time you go to the gym, you're going to beat your number from last time. You're going to do either 1 more rep or a little bit more weight. That's going to be really, really huge part to building muscle. You're going to be in a slight surplus. You're not going to be under consuming calories. And when it comes to cardio, you are going to just do minimal, maybe focusing on sprint interval training, but nothing crazy. But in both groups, you're also going to increase your NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and just move your body more. Go play at the park with your kids or your grandkids. Go for a walk where you can. Just move your body more. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Everyone needs to focus on that. Now, what can you expect? Like, how much weight can you expect to lose, and how much muscle can you expect to gain? I think this is really important because sometimes we think that we're gonna just be a different person in 6 weeks, right? But what does the science actually say? For newbies, you can actually gain muscle faster. Yeah, you get to gain muscle faster than anyone else. But keep in mind, if you're gaining more than a pound a month, then you're probably also gaining fat. So something to keep in mind. The average amount of muscle gain is about 0.5 pounds per month. And the goal is you're not going to increase more than 1.5% of your body weight per month if you're trying to really gain muscle. So it's not huge. I think it's really important to understand. At the beginning, yeah, you may be gaining as far as muscle goes, like 1 to 2 pounds a month. But when you're more advanced, it's like 0.25 to like 0.5 pounds of muscle a month. It's a slow process. It's nothing big. And that's for men. Sorry. For women, it's even smaller. It's like 0.1 to 0.25, or 0.25 to a half a pound a month if you're intermediate. And again, if you're beginner, you have the opportunity to gain a lot more muscle a lot quicker. If anything, I hope that should inspire you if you're a beginner to start working out. Okay. Now, I want you to be able to have an outline after everything we talked about. You're like, okay, she gave me all this information. Now I want to know what I can do as far as my next workout to follow a really good strength training workout plan. And I'm happy to give this to you, but you have to stick around until the very end. So I hope you stay as I talk about the next step in your journey. Now, for many of you, I just gave you a bunch of information and you may be super optimistic. You're like, sweet, okay, I'm going to put all this into practice. It's going to be awesome. And then you start and you hit zone 2, right? Or that phase 2 where you're like, oh, this is actually kind of harder than I thought. Like, where do I fit cardio in? Where do I fit this? How do I structure my workout plan? What do I do? And is this okay? And what's zone 2? And how, well, you're going to hit the valley of despair. And in order to come out of the valley of despair, it's really helpful if you have someone who's on a higher level who can reach down and pull you up and be like, well, let me show you. Here's the best path to go. Here's how you get out of this rut that you've been in. And so let me ask you a question. How much easier do you think all of this would be to follow if you joined a program? A structured program that gave you step-by-step guidance, because that is exactly what the Empowered by Plants Collective, which is our plant-based membership, that's exactly what we give you. I don't just focus on food in our membership. I mean, I do. That's a huge part of it. We focus on food, we focus on the mind, and we focus on the body. And this next month, in the month of August, we are going to go over our third aspect of the program. But there really is 3 different and very impactful programs in the PlantWhys membership. So the first program, which you may have heard of before, it is our first 40 days jumpstart. This is where we build a foundation of plant-based eating and talking about goals, building healthy habits, starting even with a little bit of Pilates so that we can build a foundation. And then in there, I have how to really keep your core nice and strong, because a lot of you are like, I'm eating healthy, I'm eating plant-based. Why do I still have a poochy belly? And the Pilates instructor in me is like, well, how about let's check to see if you have diastases? And half of you have diastases. It's really important that we also close the gap in your muscles in your core, right? So that you can have a nice flat toned belly. To get those 6-pack abs, you need to make sure that your muscles have come back together. And usually if you've gained weight really fast at some point in your life, or if you've had a baby, those muscles have separated. And if you haven't been intentional, for some of you, they're still separated. They haven't come back together. And so part of our program is really building that foundation because your core is the foundation. So if you know that to you, I would say actually start here first before you even move on to strength training, is to start with my 30-day core program so that you can build your core first. And then phase 2 of our program is emotional eating and embodiment. This is where we really focus on, why are you still eating when you're not hungry? What are all the emotional reasons why you're overeating? And this is a program that we've just been finishing up inside our membership right now. And it's where we release all the things that we've been holding on to for far too long. It's a really powerful, powerful program. There's 2 aspects to it. It's an embodiment where we really focus on stretching and yin yoga, and then emotional eating where we go deeper into all of the mental mind blocks that we may be having. And last but not least, it's phase 3 of the PlantWhys membership. And this is where we're about to start in August. This is our 30-day strength training program where we just get you started. We get you in a habit of strength training. You're going to keep doing it after, when we go into jumpstart and we go into emotional eating, you're still going to strength train. But this is the month that we focus on. This is a month where if you are brand new and you haven't strength trained at all, I have a 5-minute a day foundational strength series program where for 5 minutes a day over the next 30 days, you can build the foundation. Like I said at the beginning, I do like the high reps so that you can just build that foundational strength. And then we can go to the next part, which is over here. It kind of shows you as our workout app. And in the workout app, after you've done the foundation, then you can keep track. Then you can progressively overload. Then you can follow a structured program for anywhere between 1 month to 2 months. You can choose which program to follow. I have gym workouts, I have at-home workouts, I have band workouts, I have body weight workouts, I have dumbbells, a lot of dumbbell workouts because that's what a lot of you guys have at home. But all of that is in our right? And so this strength training app will help you keep track of your numbers so that you can build muscle, so that next time you go to work out, you are making sure that you're adding more rep, right? Or a little bit more weight. But also remember, I'm just the type of person that I can't just talk about your physical health without empowering your mind, right? I really do want to focus on your body and your mind. And in the month of August, we are also talking about empowering every aspect of your life. We are going to focus on living an empowered life. And there's going to be 6 steps and 6 goals that we're going to work on, 1 or 2 at a time each week, where you can become more empowered. I mean, simple things like making sure that you're doing self-care. I know it sounds overrated, but if you haven't filled your own cup, it's really hard to pour into anyone else and anything else. And so these are the 6 proven, known principles that will help you live more of an empowered life. So we're going to focus not only on strength, but also becoming more empowered as individuals. And so access to all 3 of these programs is in our membership, and we go through each of them over a 4-month cycle. So your first 40 days obviously takes around 2 months. And then we spend a month in embodiment and emotional eating, and then a month in strength training. And then we start it all over again. So August is going to be strength training. And then next month in September, we're going to focus on your first 40-day jumpstart. And then in November, it'll be emotional eating. And then we'll focus on strength training again in December. So it's a beautiful outline. And people have found that it's like every time they go through it, it sets in more and more. You probably heard the quote that it's like you could read 1,000 different books, or if you read one book and read that one book over and over and over and over again, then you truly will change. You'll know that book. I know my son listens to Harry Potter all the time, and he could recite everything. He really becomes a master. He's become a master in Harry Potter trivia, but I want you to become a master in these 3 things. I want you to do them again and again and again and get more and more out of it every single time you go through each cycle. So if someone could really hold your hand in the beginning, I want you to think it's pretty much impossible to fail if you have someone holding your hand. And that's why the first 40-day jumpstart, this 40-day program, is valued at almost $600. And again, you can get support, and it is whenever you need it. And that is why it's not just a program. I'm not just handing you, here's a course, go watch it on your own. No, I'm walking through it with you. This is a live program. You'll have the recorded calls, but every single Monday, you'll meet with me live. Every single Monday, a live call just like this. And not only that, you have weekly accountability calls where you can just chat with other members inside the program, see what's working, and where you're just helping each other out. We also have monthly life coaching calls where you can get past any of the mind blocks you may have. We have a certified life coach through the Life Coach School, Gail, who will work with you through all that. We have a weekly live cooking class and a monthly cooking class and a monthly book club. So all of that is part of our community, our tribe, right? It's the tribe that will give you the transformation. I asked so many people, like, what's your favorite part of the membership? And they're like, the community. Because it really is. You'll finally feel like you're not alone. It's honestly priceless because of all the benefits that you get. Now, if you could just figure out how to make peace with food, right? A lot of you guys is like, I know what to do, but I'm not actually doing it. And that's where that emotional eating and the embodiment section comes into place. That course alone is worth $300. And if you think about it, when it comes to this strength training program that we're about to go over in August, how much money are you spending on your gym membership? If you could avoid the gym, but still feel powerful and get the benefits, that's what we offer you in the workout app at any level, whether you're beginning or more advanced, you'll find a program just for you. So in that Powerful Body series, our strength program is worth over $400. It also includes our 10-minute tank top arms that you can throw in at the end of any workout to really get your toned arms, right? And we're going to work on a 10-minute toned leg series eventually as well. And that is all included inside the membership. So everything so far is valued at $1,297. Now, I know many of you are like, but I just don't know what to cook. Eating plant-based is a little too foreign for me. Don't worry. We have monthly cooking videos and recipes that go beyond just what I show on YouTube. These cooking videos are done not only by me, but by my team on family-friendly meals that work for them, not just work for me, but work for them, that have been tried and true. And so that cooking class library is worth over $200. And that's just a bonus that I throw in there. So far, the total value of the PlantWhys membership is $1,497. And then, of course, we have everything else we talked about, this emotional eating reset embodiment program, the yin yoga, all of these videos, again, is all of this, the value of all of these things is insane. And you can choose to join monthly. Of course, to join the monthly membership is $47 a month. But if you commit to 12 months, if you commit to going through all three aspects of this program 3 times, right? There's something powerful, 3x3, to really get it into your system, I highly recommend choosing the annual membership. And to sweeten the deal, again, all this is valued at $1,497, but it's not going to cost you $1,500. Today, it's only $497 to join for the year to get all of these things and then Powered by Plant Collective. But because it is a webinar, and of course, you can probably join anytime annually at any point, go on my website and join. But the benefit of coming to a webinar is I always give you bonuses. So for limited time, if you join annual, you do not get this with the monthly. You can always join monthly anytime. But if you decide to do annual, I'm going to throw in my signature course, right? This is 31 deep dive educational videos, and you'll have access to it forever. And that's only, again, when you buy annual. And what's inside it is the truth behind dietary trends, how to fix your gut microbiome, all of my interviews with the famous plant-based doctors, all of these things, strategies to prevent heart disease, cancer, diabetes. You can shed stubborn excess pounds on plant-based diet, how to feed your children, how politics impacts everything, holistic health, intuitive eating, spiritual healing, all of these things. Pretty much everything is the most inclusive plant-based nutrition course on the market, and all of that is included. With the signature course, you'll be able to get rid of excess weight, high cholesterol numbers, high blood pressure, digestive issues, chronic inflammation. And once you've been in the membership for a year, maybe if you want to stay longer, of course, I'd love to have you. But then it's something that you get to keep forever. It's the information that you probably learned in the membership, but then you can go back to. So it's not just this monthly membership, but you can always go back to, oh yeah, what did I learn? Let me look that up again and watch the video again. We know monkey see, monkey do. And the more that you really learn about this way of eating, the more likely you'll actually do it. You see other people, you learn about it. And when you really look at the average health spending by age in the United States, how much people are spending on medical bills, the older you get, like how much more it just costs for medication, for doctor's visits, all of that is worth it, investing in your health now. Even Jessica, she said, I used to think it would be so expensive to eat this way, but the truth is my grocery bills are lower and our health is improving with every meal. PlantWhys has saved me. Yes, it's so much cheaper to eat plant-based. On top of all of those things, you're going to save money because you're not buying meat and dairy, and it's a heck of a lot cheaper. And more important than any of it, than just the cost savings, is that you'll have the energy to play with your kids, to play with your grandkids, to be around for them. And I always think you can pay for pain now, like the pain of building muscle now, or you can pay for the pain of having hip replacement later in the future. And I'd much rather take the pain of building muscle now, the pain of exercise now, because it serves me. It gives me energy. It's a dopamine hit. It makes me feel amazing. And sometimes, yes, my muscles are sore, but I'd much rather have that than not being able to move later on. I'd much rather invest now in my body so that I can travel with my husband when we're older, or go serve a mission, or go on a humanitarian trip, or even just be able to dance at my daughter's wedding. Right? All of these things, to have that energy, it matters so much. Like, please, please, whether or not you join my program, please invest in your health. Please invest and do what the American guidelines have simply directed us to do, but no one's actually following. Doing the cardio, doing the strength training, eating enough fruits and vegetables. It's simple. It's not even crazy. I'm not trying to sell you some crazy supplement. I'm just trying to tell you I'm trying to support you in doing what we know we need to do, but no one's doing it. Right? And so if you join annual, you'll get the limited time bonus of the PlantWhys signature course, which is valued at $797. So total value is $2,294. But what if I could sweeten the deal even more? Because you're here in this workshop. I love to give more bonuses. So again, if you sign up for annual before Monday, you will get a 1-year meal plan subscription, where every single month I give you our meal plan, which we do all the hard work for you. It has the protein all done for you, at least 60 grams of protein every single day. So we've done the hard work. You can just follow the plan. We've organized it. You get day by day, every week for the next year, a meal plan sent to your inbox once a month. Okay. So that is valued. We sell that. You can buy that anytime. Guys, you're more than welcome to buy it. I would love for you to do it, even if you don't join the program. That's $120 a year, or $10 a month. And you get that for free when you join it for annual now. So total value, $2,414. And you only have to pay $497. But wait, there's more. This is brand new too. I have never offered this before. I have never offered during a workshop to gift you this. But if you sign up for annual, I'm also going to gift you my 40-day forgiveness and freedom formula course. It's separate from my first 40-day jumpstart. I know it gets confusing because they're both 40 days, but that's because the number 40 is so powerful. The number of 40 is where you really can change your habits. And if you are really struggling with food addiction, if you know what you need to do but haven't been able to do it, if you have something, just feel like your energy is off, you've been holding on to maybe too many negative things for far too long, then this course is for you. The forgiveness and freedom formula goes deeper into food addiction and goes deeper into healing through forgiveness, right? And we use our energy centers. It's like goes even deeper than what I teach in the embodiment section inside the membership. It goes even deeper. And we use the 12-step program. So it's kind of my version of like the 12-step program, because we also use the energy of understanding the different energy systems in your body, and we release it all. We release it. We get rid of it. We forget. We move on. And it is a beautiful, incredible program. And you get it for free when you join before Monday. So total value is $2,614. If you join annual for just $497, you get all of these programs. Again, annual it will be billed automatically next year if you decide not to cancel, but you can cancel at any point. So what is your health worth to you? What is it worth? How much money have you spent on supplements? How much money have you spent on medication? How much money have you spent on any of those things? Doctor visits, right? Getting you eyeglass prescription, whatever it is. I want you to think about it. Us as women tend to invest in everyone else but ourselves. I know that I easily invest in my children. I spend this much on soccer for my kids, right? Not only just to have them in a soccer for the fall, that's not even the full year, but for fall, and then to buy their soccer gear. I know for swimming, I spent the same thing, right? I invest in their health, but am I willing to invest in my own health? So how much is your own health worth to you? Your long-term health? I know it. If you really, really just take the time to focus. The thing about joining a program is you commit, you bet on yourself. It's like you put the money down and you bet on yourself. You're like, yes, I'm going to follow through and I'm going to do what I know I need to do, but haven't been doing. The simple American guidelines that are proven, right? Based off of research, nothing crazy, nothing funky, just the simple steps to really optimize your health. And if your health is optimized, think how much more you can serve. Think how much more you can give. Think how much more energy you have. The amount of energy I have, sometimes I'm like, I feel so lucky. I feel so blessed that I rest when I need to, if I'm feeling it. But in general, the amount of energy I have with all my 6 kids and running a business, I just want to tell everyone, like, do things, guys. It's so worth it. And I know Debbie, don't just take it from me, but Debbie said, I joined PlantWhys 1 year ago and lost 40 pounds in the first 5 months and have kept it off while feeling full every day. My cholesterol went from 234 to 157 and my psoriasis symptoms are gone. Like, look at her. Like, how much is it worth it to have lower cholesterol, to have the psoriasis symptoms gone, to have lost 40 pounds, but keep up 40 pounds in the first 5 months? Like, it's insane, right? So the teaching content is top notch and really well thought out. And the approach is caring and genuine. What helped me most is the emotional eating course and developing her why. She's like, I'm eating plant-based. I've learned so much from this, both about whole food plant-based eating and about myself. She's like, also, there are so many great videos. I'm not sure I could have done this without learning how easy plant-based cooking can be. It can be easy, guys. I promise you, I am not complicated. I'm like, what? How can I make this easy? How can I make this quick? Or Bonnie, who said, I'm so grateful for PlantWhys. I continue to be amazed at the resources and content available to me through this program. I've lost weight in the healthiest way imaginable, and I feel confident that I can continue with this lifestyle change. PlantWhys provides education through the membership, the videos, the signature course, like all of these things, right? And she says it is worth every dollar and so much more. So again, total value is actually, because I threw in that forgiveness and freedom formula, is $2,614. I sell that course for $200, but I'm throwing it in on top of everything else today if you join before Monday. And you can go to www.plantwhys.com/collective in order to get that. So I'm just going to write that in the chat right now, plantwhys.com/collective to sign up before Monday to get all those bonuses. Now, I do want to say when it comes to the forgiveness and freedom formula, it is not because this is just like I decided today that I was going to give it to you guys as a bonus. So it is not automated. I have to manually put it in your course. So if you sign up for annual and you don't see it right away, don't worry. I will make sure that everyone who signs up before midnight Pacific time on Monday, I will manually put it in your program. So you probably won't see that forgiveness and freedom formula inside your vault until Tuesday because I have to manually put it there. So, all right, guys, I am so excited. Remember, if you wait, you can always join. You always have the option to join. But we're doing the strength training this month in August, which is why I'm giving this workshop, because we're going deeper. I just teased you all the information. Now we're going deeper during the month of August. You'll get all types of support when it comes to your workout. So even if you just want to join for the month, of course you can do monthly. 100%. You can do $47 a month, join for the month of August and go deeper into strength training, get the support that you need. I'm always happy to have you in there. But if you do join annual, you will get these bonuses. Again, the signature course, the 1-year meal plan subscription, and the 40-day forgiveness and freedom formula. So those are what you get if you join annual. But again, you can always join monthly at www.plantwhys.com/collective. Now, the last question I know people are going to ask is, what if I want one-on-one coaching? And when you join annual, after you check out, so you'll go through, you'll check out, then there will be a screen that pops up and says, hey, do you want to add a one-on-one coach? And I think it's $397 for 3 months. So if that's something that you would like to do, you can just click yes. If that's not something you want to do, then you can click no. But in order to have a one-on-one coach inside our program, you have to at least be inside the membership. So it is something that you can add on at any point. I want to let that some people just are like, I just need someone to hold my hand. What happens with a one-on-one coach is they will text you every single day and have a monthly call with you. So every single day, it's like you'll send them, maybe if you're tracking your food, you'll send them a screenshot of what you ate that day. It'll really end your workout plan, what you did for your workout, so that you stay on track and you have that one-on-one accountability. Obviously, that's not including the membership because of how much I have to pay my team to coach you, to be there for you. And so it is a separate add-on, but it is something that is included for those who need it. Okay, so make sure you grab it, everything at www.plantwhys.com/collective. And now here is your strength training workout outline. Thank you so much for sticking around until the very end. If you go, I'm just going to type it in the chat. If you go to www.plantwhys.com, let me just write that there. plantwhys.com/workout. You can grab so you just fill out the form and then I email you the strength training workout outline. So I put that in the chat. I want to make sure everyone gets it. It's just www.plantwhys.com/workout to get that free gift. Okay. What are the questions? What questions do you guys have? Are there any questions you have, even if it's about the program or strength training? So if I'm going to go through the chat, see what I missed. Hello, yes, perfect. Exercising, not sure the best way to attain my goals. So hopefully with everything we talked about, hey, you've chosen a goal and you're like, okay, this is my goal. So does anyone have any questions with your goals? So you're walking 45 minutes a day and light exercise, 45 minutes a day walking is awesome. You just want to make sure that you're doing strength training as well. Remember, for everyone, whether you're in a build phase or a fat loss phase, everyone needs to do strength training, like the major muscle groups. What are the major muscle groups? It's going to be working your chest and working your back and doing squats and hinge moves, which is what I teach inside the membership. So you need to do a push and a pull exercise at least twice a week. So push, pull, and then squat, hinge. So a squat and a hinge is going to be something like a hip thrust or a deadlift, but a hinge move is where you're working your glutes in the lengthened position, where a squat is where you're just what a squat is, right? You're putting weight on it. So if you could just do a squat and a hinge and a push and a pull twice a week, then that is strength training. That's being able to hit those numbers. Now, if you have more time to do upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body, you can do upper body, which you'll do a push pull, and then maybe you'll do a push pull overhead and a push pull lower, right? It's not just push pull like a chest press in a row, but maybe you'll do an overhead shoulder press and a pull up, or maybe you'll do a tricep press for push lower and then a bicep curl for your pull, and then lateral raises. You always want it for women. We want to work laterally, work those shoulders. And so it's really important that if you can add that in, if you have time, get the lateral raises along with the push pull to complete your upper body. That's really beneficial too. Same thing with the squat hinge. If you can also work laterally, because we're not just forward, right? So if you can do A, B duction in the lower body to work laterally, then that can really complete your full body. Okay, how do we do a workaround with the classes when we take vacation? That's great because with the vacation, have vacation workouts for you inside the membership. So I have, if you have just body weight, I have exercise videos for you because when you're on vacation, you're just doing the best you can, right? On vacation, it's about maintenance. It's not necessarily about building or really doing anything. We don't want to gain weight and we don't want to lose muscle. So on vacation, the goal is just don't gain weight, don't lose muscle. And so that's where you can just do some of my group fitness classes that I have recorded, and you can do them from anywhere. They're inside the membership. They're just body weight, where you can just do body weight strength training while you're on vacation. Because yes, that totally happens. Some people also like to take bands with them on vacation. And I do have in our workout app band workouts that you can follow for vacation purposes. So you can do a short band or a long band. So I do have those for vacations too. That's a great question. If you do a 1-year membership, is the price, the auto renewal is the same price. So it'll just renew every year. But again, you can cancel at any point. I'm 71 years old and am new to exercising. I've been doing resistance bands, but not on the floor as I have painful knees and have trouble getting off the floor. I mean, wholly plant-based for over a year. What do you suggest I do instead of Pilates on the floor? So I have a sit and sculpt program. So you don't have to get on the floor because that's a common thing that I've seen. I have a lot of women in their 70s and 80s in my program, as well as a lot of women in their 30s, 40s, 50s. But because of that, there are a handful of you who can't get on off the floor. So I have a whole separate program to build your core called Sit and Sculpt. So you don't have to lie down. So you can do all of the Pilates stuff, the strengthening and the closing the gap, the flattening your belly without actually having to lie down. Or you can do it in bed. Some of them, like you can get on your bed. You can do some of the workouts on a bed too, but most of it, the sit and sculpt is what people love. And in the strength training, because I'm also adding the 10 minutes a day. So especially for beginners, I would start with a 5-minute a day strength training, especially even if you have 2 cans of beans, keep it really simple. Then you can even move on to my 10 minutes a day for the arms program to keep it like to progress. And then you can do the app. So there's a lot of different levels. It's like beginner, intermediate, advanced, and there's like 3 different beginner, right? So there's a lot of different things that we can do to help you in your way. Okay, perfect. Any other questions? Any other questions, guys? This was awesome. All right. I don't want to keep you guys too long. If those are all of the questions that you have. Oh, did you cover the ab muscle separation exercise in your program? Yes, I sure do. I sure do. So the membership has literally everything. In fact, I was working with a client. She was doing the 101 program and she was like, oh, I'm meeting with my physical therapist and we're doing these things. And I was like, I have video for that, right? And I showed her, I'm like, Pilates for the knees. I'm like, everything she's doing in physical therapy. I'm like, there's a video already in our membership. I have it all. I've been a Pilates instructor for almost 20 years. So we go really deep into the 30-day program. You can buy it separately. At any point, you can always buy my just the strong core healthy gut aspect of it. But the 30-day Pilates program, that's it, that you can buy separately, is already in the membership. Most things that you can buy separately, except for my bigger, like more intense courses, most of them are already in the membership. So the ab separation, if you have it, diastasis is what it's called. It's really important that you do before you go into strength training, before you put a lot of muscle on and do heavy squats and do all those things, you spend the time to close the gap. I had a woman who was in our program and she went through just the 30 days of the ab program 3 times. She cycled through it 5 minutes a day for 30 days, 3 times. She had a 3-finger gap. So, and I teach you how to test. So in the program, you'll test and it's like you feel your muscles and it's like, whoa, there's a gap. And then you go and you really can only feel it when you're crunching. So she tested, she had 3 fingers gap and she went from 3 to 1. Like that's how much her muscles were from here to here. To here, I should say. They were like from there to here. So it really, I promise you it works. You would do this in physical therapy if you really wanted to focus on it. These things are things that I've been teaching for years and years and years. And it's just 5 minutes a day. It's simple. And that is already in the membership. And then if you want to do the beauty, a lot of people, if they join in August where we're doing strength training, they'll do both. So they'll do the 5 minute a day strength training program and the 5 minute a day closing the ab gap program. So it's just 10 minutes a day. And so they'll do both of them. And they're kind of moving along to begin. It's a really great foundation. So I'm glad you asked. Yes, that's a beauty. This is the thing. A lot of fit dudes can tell you how to work out, but a mom who's had 6 kids, right? And who's had to like gain muscle and go through having baby and then like lose weight. It's different. It's different. As a woman, I understand things that other men don't, and trying to build muscle and trying to fit it into a very busy schedule. When you have kids, when you have so many other things, when you're injured, the thing about Pilates that I love is it's been there for me through every injury, whether I've like broken my foot or had a wrist issue. There's so many things that you can still do with Pilates. And so I love it. And that's why it's included. It's more than that. I feel like Pilates is a foundation. And then when your foundation is strong, you can build in strength training. So it's a perfect place to start, or you can do the foundational strength training together at the same time. All right. Anything else, guys? These are so great. Yes. Oh, and you know what? I do have a Pilates with osteoporosis. I have a few of those videos because when it comes to osteoporosis, you want to minimize forward flexion. So forward flexion and crunching forward, right? You don't want to do this. If you have osteoporosis, you want to spend more time doing back extension. That's why I have a whole series for osteoporosis. But even the first 5 minutes a day program too, because just focus on strengthening without the forward flexion. So yes, we do have Pilates for osteoporosis. It's also in there. When I work with women who are mostly, 50, 60, 70, 80, of course, in there. I have Pilates for sciatica. I have Pilates for knee pain. I have even if you have like scoliosis, there's some really good things that you can do too. So yeah, it's all in there, guys. It's all in there. I love that you asked that question. Awesome. Okay. No other questions? Perfect. I hope you join. You have until Monday. And if you haven't already grabbed your free workout outline, definitely grab that, your free gift. I spent a lot of time putting that together. And so I hope that's helpful so that you know the push pull, how to kind of outline your workouts with progressive overload. So I'm glad you joined. So if anything else, hopefully you got a lot out of this. And if you need more support, if you're like, education, here's the thing. We live in a day and age with AI. We don't need more education. You could probably have learned everything I just taught you with a really couple of good searches on AI. You totally could have. But what's the difference between AI and joining a program is the support, is the accountability, is having someone walk you through it, hold your hand through it. Been there. I've been there, right? Real people helping you. And so if you know you need that support, please make sure to join. Even if it's just monthly for 1 month to join for August, then go ahead and do that. Otherwise, if you join annual, you get those 3 bonuses. And you can grab the outline by going to www.plantwhys.com/workout. And I will put it one more time here in the chat for those who are live. Perfect. All right. And if you're just watching the recording, you're just going to have to type it in www.plantwhys.com/workout. Just type it into your browser. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you on Monday for our first call where we talk about our prep week for our strength training month. So hopefully I'll see you then. Our call starts at 9 p.m. So make sure to join before then. All right. Thank you so much, guys. And if you want any of those bonuses, join before midnight on Monday. All right. I'll talk to you later. Thank you for listening to Eat Meat Sparingly, a Word of Wisdom podcast. I'm your host, Ali Essig. And if you need more help and support with transitioning to eating more plants so you can lose weight and improve your gut health and just reduce your risk of chronic disease, then make sure to check out my PlantWhys membership. That's PlantWhys, because I like to teach the why behind eating more plants. But if all you need is just a couple more delicious recipes that feed your family and everyone loves, and not to mention super simple and easy, then make sure to check out my YouTube channel, which is also PlantWhys, PlantWhys. Hope to see you there.